John Edwards, Todd Schumacher for Inside the High School Sports Caravan. Week 1 of the playoffs, Todd, but let's recap last week. But you had really a good game over between Kirkwood and SLU High. And it seems like, once again, Kirkwood in the number 1 spot loses to SLU High. And in essence, they lose that number 1 spot in the district.
Yeah, second year in a row that's happened where SLU has come in and kind of upset Kirkwood. But Kirkwood really came out very flat, not able to get their running game and offensive weapons going against SLU. Also, SLU had Andrew Clare, their running back, had 2 quick touchdowns, really set the tone for the game. He was injured, didn't finish up the game in the second half, but the damage was done. Kirkwood was kind of able to stay pace, but SLU gets the win.
You talked to Gary Kornfeld. We had a chance to talk to him at the beginning of the year, and once again, talking about his team and how he feels that they should be middle of the road. They'd be very lucky to have a winning season, and they wind up 7-2 and number 3 in their district.
Well, he's won over 200 career wins for a reason, and they had a really good game plan against Kirkwood, who just was never able to get a rhythm. Gerard Alton, the star running back for Kirkwood, was just neutralized. They had 1 or 2 bodies on him almost every single play. So the fact that Gary Kornfeld knew we're not going to let Alton burn us was a key to that victory.
Our game on the on Misha.tv this week will be St. Charles West and MICDS. Not the typical St. Charles West team we would normally see. Drew Lauer gone, but they're still a running team.
Yeah, they really are. Drake Kelly is, along with Austin Coffey, head up that running game. Drake Kelly also had some repetitions last year, did a pretty good job. But Gary Strauss always has a good team. You know, St. Charles West is always a solid program, but both teams are trying to find their way. MICDS, under first-year coach Matt Buha, as Josh Smith moves up to the athletic director position at MICDS, trying to get some traction there. But it's a 4-5 matchup in the district, so it should be an even one.
Also in Class 6, CBC takes the top spot, and really that's more than likely the team we'll see at the Dome for Class 6.
Yeah, they're the overwhelming favorite. It's as the bracket lines up, you say, is it going to be Francis Howell? That matches up against CBC. We've wanted to see that at the Dome many years. And, you know, you take a look at SLU, they get the 3rd seed barely behind Hazelwood Central. So if it is Hazelwood Central and SLU, obviously motivation for the Junior Bills because Hazelwood Central beat them last year in districts. But you got to go through CBC, and unless they make some big mistakes in a game, it's going to be the Cadets.
Class 5, District 1. Fox gets the top spot in the district, but really the game that I think everybody wants to see once again is going to be Jackson and Vianney.
Yeah, Fox is we've got a chance to see them this year against Melville. Just a very balanced team. That's a good adjective for them because on defense, terrific linebackers, really prevent running backs from getting to the second level. Offensively, they go with a 2 running back, attack, and that's how they win. They've won 5 in a row. They haven't allowed more than 2 touchdowns a game this year. But like you say, Vianney and Jackson always have great battles. Vianney, though, I'm going to give a nod to because they won in week 2 against Jackson 52-28. They're led by Devin Marty, who has 22 total touchdowns, over 1,100 yards, and Jackson kind of having a down season. Not many years did you see Jackson have a down year, and I think Vianney, they're going to stick to the running game, and they'll get past the Indians.
Jackson not having Vontae Van Daven, who's now the starting quarterback at SEMO, having a really good year down there, too, kind of helps the Vianney team as we go further into the playoffs. We go a little further in Class 5, you talk about Chaminade, they get the top spot, Todd, but really the game, the team you really need to watch out for is Ladue. They'll take on Webster Groves in the first round. Webster Groves not having the typical Webster Groves kind of year.
No, but you can never rule a Cliff Ice team out, and only 3-4 wins this year. But Ladue is always a team that you can easily forget about. But this is a team that consistently goes deep into the bracket and can make some noise. So don't forget about the Rams.
Here we are at Westminster High School, and Westminster last weekend beat St. Francis Borgia 37-20, and more than likely those 2 teams will meet up in the district finals.
Yeah, in Westminster, they had the big win against Burroughs, but Borgia, always a tough team, always a tough program to go up against, and like we say, anything can happen in this district tournament because once you get out of that first round, the second round gets quite interesting.
If you move over to Class 4, District 2, Lutheran South, who's 5-4, takes on Miller Career, also 5-4. But Lutheran South probably playing its best football. They've won their last 3 games in a row. And Cody Schrader, over 2,000 yards, second in scoring with 33 touchdowns.
Yeah, Cody Schrader, we did get a chance to see him shortly against Lutheran St. Charles, and he's just a very dynamic running back. I kind of compare him to kind of a Drew Lauer, you know, not huge, but just really amasses the yards and the scoring. And Lutheran South is a team that really has made strides in the last 2 or 3 seasons, and who knows, maybe they make a deep run.
Class 3, you have John Burroughs, and this is a team who over the last couple of years has always been the bridesmaid, would never really been the bride. But will they get back to the Dome again once a year this year, and can they get it done?
You know, I think them losing to Westminster exposed the fact that John Burroughs may not be the team that they've been when they've gotten to the Dome. I've talked to some local coaches that think Burroughs is down this year. And you say, well, they're top 3 in the state. How is that down? But it'll be interesting because they're going to get a lot of challenges. You know, they always play a tough Park Hill Central team down in the, you know, towards the boot here, you know, towards southeast Missouri. And it'll be interesting. Burroughs is going to have to really get hot to make a trip downtown.
Before I forget, Francis Howell wins their district, but really what most likely will happen is they'll take on Blue Springs South in the district finals.
Yeah, Blue Springs South is going to be motivated. Remember, they lost at home to Howell 41-7 1 year ago, and then in the last 4 years they played twice. Series has been split, so don't forget about Blue Springs South. Always strong, and you've got this, you know, cross district with Kansas City and St. Louis teams. And for me, I look and say we've seen Howell several times, but we haven't seen them dominate from start to finish. And they need to get into that stride. So if they get Blue Springs South, they can't, you know, sputter along because Blue Springs South is going to come full speed.
Consistency is going to be a big deal for Brian Koch's team, especially at the quarterback position with Quentin White.
Yeah, and he always connects with his brother, and they're a great 1-2 punch. But it's one of those things that it kind of exposes Blue Springs South defense if it is a matchup between those two teams. If we can contain White out at the wide receiver spot, put pressure on Quentin at quarterback, that could be trouble for Brian Koch's crew. But they have been successful in the postseason, so maybe they hit that switch.
High School Sports Caravan wants to thank one of its proud sponsors, Winning Streak. You can find them at winning-streak.com, 618-277-8191. All your embroidering for your teams, your schools, silk screening, whatever you need, they have it. That's Winning Streak. Winning-streak.com. For Todd Schumacher, John Edwards, we'll be back with you next week for more Inside the High School Sports Caravan, Week 2 of the playoffs.